Probably one of the most proud of anybody that's not here with us today is my grandmother, Miss Virginia Hoblick. She was so proud of my dad. She'd had a folder and it had my dad's name on it. You know, it was for my dad. It is stuffed thick. And you open it up and it is every article that has ever been written about him had his name in it, had his picture of it. It was just the sweetest recognition that she was just following his every move and just one of his biggest supporters for sure. And so I know she's got no doubt in her mind that he would be where he is today.
Born in Ohio to Kenneth and Jenny Hoblick, John was the third of 4 children. Upon retirement, John's grandfather migrated south and settled in DeLeon Springs, where he began growing ferns in a burgeoning industry. In 1968, John's father packed up the family and moved to Florida, where John's father and grandfather would establish the cut foliage business, Hoblick Greens. John felt at home from the start.
I love Florida. It was a great place to grow up. You had your warm summers, you had the outdoor activities that you didn't have to be bundled up in. Loved the beach, loved the water. The outdoors was just excellent.
John attended Taylor High School in nearby Pearson, Florida, where he joined the Future Farmers of America. While in the FFA, John's natural ability to lead was recognized by his advisor and Florida Farm Bureau Federation member, Frankie Hall.
I got involved in the 7th grade in FFA, and it was a great experience because it kind of felt like I was learning something that I really had a passion for. Didn't know that was going to wind up being my career, but it was very important to have that program.
John graduated from Taylor High School in 1981, but he left with more than just a diploma.
I first met John when I transferred high schools from DeLand High to Pearson Taylor High. It was at the end of our 11th grade, and I met him on a Friday. He asked me out on Wednesday, which seemed like an eternity for me.
And we shared the same band director in 7th grade as we did in high school in 11th and 12th grade, and he actually introduced us and said, "John, come in here and meet this girl. You need to meet this lady." And when I did, and we both smiled at each other, and it was a special click.
John and Kara were married in July of 1986 and have been inseparable ever since. John earned his associate degree from Daytona Beach Community College before transferring to the University of Florida, where he pursued a bachelor's degree in ornamental horticulture. While at UF, he pledged with Alpha Gamma Rho, the agricultural fraternity. After graduating in 1990, John returned home to the family business, where he and Kara would manage the fernery together, raising their children, Johnny, Kyla, and Jake, in the same fern hammock where John grew up.
We'd spend our off times in the fernery, just fishing a lot and just good old-fashioned fun when we were kids. So.
You know, I remember going out there and helping my parents work and planting, digging holes, but mostly we would sneak away and run through all the lanes and end up playing hide and go seek and spider webs. You run through a row that's so close together and then you will just get a face full of spider webs.
A month on the farm after graduation working, and I knew Farm Bureau through my dad being involved and going to the county annual dinners. Frankie Hull, Kevin Morgan, and Bob Shaw showed up on my doorstep and recruited me indirectly into the Young Farmer and Rancher program.
John excelled very quickly in the Young Farmer and Rancher program. Maybe even the first year that he entered one of the contests, the discussion meet, he won that contest, and that sort of sparked his interest in Farm Bureau.
John was appointed to serve on the Young Farmers and Ranchers Committee by then President Carl Loop. He would later be elected by his peers to serve as chairman, giving him a seat on the Bureau's board of directors. And in 1991, John was presented with the Young Farmers and Ranchers Achievement in Agriculture Award.
Fern Trust was started back in late 1986 as an agricultural cooperative. Us, along with another couple of families, banded together to form Fern Trust to be able to have enough production to supply the emerging markets in Holland at that time. The good thing about Fern Trust and the way it's organized is it does all the harvesting, packaging, and shipping, so it allows the growers to do what they do best and grow a really top quality product in the field. So we started buying fern in the field and cut from Hoblick greens, and it grew from there to where we were buying a large percentage of what his production was, which was kind of his gateway into becoming a part of Fern Trust, and he was looking to do other things at that time also.
He started getting more into not just the farming, but kind of more public outreach of what can I do for the ag community as a whole instead of just working here on the farm.
Agriculture is a small population across this state and nation, and our voices just aren't that powerful. And so the idea behind that Wedgeworth institution is to help leadership skills become a part of your life. And by doing that, put you in the position to be able to run for an elected office or be a part of the political system and have an influence to benefit agriculture.
What it does is it recruits people from around the state that have been nominated by past members of the organization. You go through a pretty rigorous selection process and are chosen based on your geographic area and your past leadership experience to try to help develop you into a leader for the future.
In recognition of his representation of the program and his industry leadership, in 2008, John was presented with Wedgeworth's highest honor, the Eugene Trotter Leadership Award. Wedgeworth's leadership training would serve John well during his tenure at Florida Farm Bureau, the state's largest agricultural organization, representing more than 131,000 families. He sat on the state board of directors from 1994 until his retirement in 2021. In 2006, after serving 6 years as secretary, John was elected president by his peers, succeeding his mentor and fellow horticulturalist, Carl Loop.
Mr. Loop taught me a lot of leadership responsibilities just by serving on the board of directors. And so I feel like that all of that leadership training that was given to me throughout my younger life and my young adult life prepared me for the position of president at Farm Bureau.
As a farmer, John was well suited for the role, and his keen insight was pivotal in helping to craft significant state legislation that directly benefited Florida's farmers and ranchers, strengthening the Right to Farm statute, expanding agricultural tax exemptions, and establishing agricultural certifications to help prepare students for careers in agriculture.
His impact was at the grassroots level. He wanted to make an impact in local communities, but his reach went far beyond. He made an impact at the state level, nationally, and even internationally.
Perhaps John's greatest accomplishment as an advocate for Florida agriculture was finding common ground among the diverse members of the state's agriculture industry.
John was able to be a bridge between not only cattlemen and timber people to fern growers, people that were in the citrus business, to row crop farmers up in the northwest part of the state. So that took a special kind of person to be able to take all those different types of agriculture and get us to work cohesively under one roof at the state level.
John's advocacy and diligent support of agriculture education resulted in over $700,000 in donations to the University of Florida's College of Agricultural Life Sciences, or CALS, and the Institute for Food and Agricultural Sciences, or IFAS, reinforcing the bond between Florida Farm Bureau and the university.
John realized very, very early that the investment of time and resources in that next generation was just going to be priority.
I don't think it's an accident that Farm Bureau's headquarters is in the backyard of the University of Florida. In 1941, when we were founded, the goals of the organization were to advocate for farmers and ranchers, and I think those goals still stand true today, and we can't do any of those without a partnership with UF-IFAS. So I believe a big piece of John's legacy is that he is a mentor and an advocate for future generations within the ag industry.
Those leaders that John coached up and mentored over the years are now the backbone of this industry. You don't have to look very far to find someone who has fallen out of John's coaching tree.
John's support of the University of Florida and Extension Service was observed in 2008 when John was inducted into the Florida Blue Key Hall of Fame, and again in 2011 when he was presented with the Outstanding Agriculturalist Award from the National Association of County Agricultural Agents.
FFA was a big part of my life, and again, I'm a kind of a believer that, you know, things that have been good to you and people that have been good to you, you give back.
Demonstrating his steadfast belief in the FFA creed, in the future of agriculture, with a faith born not of words but of deeds. In 2013, John envisioned creating a permanent headquarters for the FFA on the Florida Farm Bureau campus in Gainesville. By rallying the support of donors across the state, John was able to secure donations totaling over $750,000 to help bring his vision to life.
That was a huge project for Farm Bureau. In my history, we've never done anything quite that large on the cost scale, and our board was supportive of that. John really encouraged our board to be supportive. It was his, he was a driving force with that.
I think he placed his priorities in the right place, and it's in these young men and women who are now serving on county commissions, city councils, and on school boards, in addition to serving in this industry.
John's longtime support of the organization was recognized in 2009 when he was presented with honorary degrees from both the Florida and the National FFA. While his efforts to support Florida's agriculture industry would never stop, in May of 2009, John's world came to a standstill when his youngest son, Jake, passed away unexpectedly at the age of 16.
He was the youngest of all three of us, but he was so proud of my dad, and he was very vocal about it. And of all the faces, of all the smiling faces looking down at us, I know his is shining one of the brightest for my dad. And just, even though he's not here with us, I know he has such pride for where my dad is.
John's community involvement mirrored his efforts professionally. He was a devoted leader for the Boy Scouts of America and was instrumental in revitalizing a recreation Pop Warner football league in Volusia County, where he then volunteered as a coach. John has also been an active member and past elder at the DeLand First Presbyterian Church, and he currently volunteers on the Volusia County Environmental and Natural Resources Advisory Council. In 2015, John's longtime investment and commitment to his community was acknowledged when he was recognized as the Citizen of the Year for the Volusia County Association for Responsible Development.
I was very proud of him for that Volusia County Leadership Award because that's close to home. He's received so many awards statewide and nationally, but that I was very proud of that award because it's our hometown.
It's been said that a bad day fishing is better than a good day at work. Now that John has retired, he might agree. John's vision and passion to serve helped him steer a clear course to success in life. But for John, it's the milestones that mean the most.
As you go through life, you have milestones. You pick up these little milestones, these little rocks along the way, and you throw them in your bag over your shoulder, and you keep walking down that road, gathering other milestones. But before long, a lifetime long, the bag gets heavy. You finally sit down and rest. And while you're sitting down and rest, you just dump that bag of milestones out on the ground and you reflect upon each one in your life. You know, you just sit there and you say, wow, can't believe I collected this many rocks all of my life. Boom, that's it.